Greetings, friends. Welcome to the Pin Tool Podcast. My name is Al Wayman, owner of Creek Road Pottery in Laceyville, Pennsylvania, next to the cold Tuscarora Creek. Pull up a chair around the wheel as we discuss topics concerning the art and craft of pottery, good books, storytelling, marketing, and creating work that matters for folks who care. Greetings, friends. Welcome to the Pin Tool Podcast. My name is Al Wayman, and I am sitting next to the cold Tuscarora Creek. So there was no podcast last week because I was on vacation with friends. We were sitting around the fire, enjoying camping, eating some good food, having some good laughs. But sitting in those camp chairs slouched really did a number on my back. So it was a bit of a pain, but I kind of enjoyed my sufferings. So I am back at work now and getting back to doing some pottery. I have a few shows coming up. I'm going to be at Hometown Days in Tunkhannock later in the month, and I'm currently working on organizing work to take to a show in Owego, New York. So that'll be around July 1st. And then I have a Lake Cary show also in July. So I have some busy things coming up that I need quite a bit of work for. The gallery show in Owego, New York will be a little bit something different. So I'm going to need a collection because I am showing with a photographer. So that'll be kind of nice. It'll be something new. I have never done this type of collaboration before with a photographer, even though I've done past collaborations. But at any rate, it's such a beautiful day out. So the topic today is going to be about what your artwork encompasses. Because a lot of times we may think that we are creating the work, and if we sell it, we are putting it out there to try to get buyers, to try to attract people who may enjoy the work. But the total body of the work encompasses a lot more things than you may realize. And I'm going to talk about 6 or 7 things. That's an odd number, 7, right? 6 or 7 things that your body of work actually encompasses that you may not even realize. So we're going to head on down to the creek. Well, we're already here at the creek, but you can go back up to the studio, get your pin tool if you want to hang out. We'll have this little topic down here by the creek. Okay, so we'll see you there. Greetings, friends. Welcome to the discussion. We're here at the cold Tuscarora Creek. We're just going to sit around and have a chat. So pull up a lawn chair if you got it. Oh, it's so beautiful down here. You could probably hear the water behind me. So today's topic, we're going to talk about what your work encompasses. And you may not realize it, but even when you're not creating work, your total body of work may encompass a few of these things. Observing, reading, networking, rest and relaxation, thinking, storytelling, and communicating. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's go through each of these, and we will discuss maybe some things that you haven't even thought of. So a lot of times people think, well, creating work means I'm in the studio actually making things. But I've heard it said that creating work is only 20% of the process. If you sell, the other 80% is getting rid of it. So I'm going to say that these 7 things we're going to talk about is included in with both creating and marketing your work. And it's very important to see these things also as part of what you do. So you're not constantly beating yourself up when you find yourself doing these things, because it's all okay and it's all part of a process. So the first one is observing. If you're constantly in the studio and you're creating, it doesn't give you much time to get outside and observe what's going on in your community, in the environment that you're living in, what other people are maybe saying and doing and thinking. So it's really important to go out and observe the things around you so that you can better express them through your art. Because all these things that you take in and observe are filtered through and come out through your hands with what you make. So it's really important to observe and take time to observe. It doesn't mean you're being lazy if you're sitting and you're observing what's going on, or you're taking time to research maybe a cultural movement or a cultural idea or a cultural influence, or observing whatever topic that you might be interested in. Taking time to do that does not mean you're lazy and does not mean you're not creating work. It's very important to be a good observer. Also, taking time to read. There are some great books out there, and there's some great audiobooks, maybe if you don't like to sit with a book. Right now I'm going through a lot of Seth Godin books, and he's a really good business philosopher, I think. And I've been absorbing a lot of what he's saying and just spending some time on my breaks at work and on my days off reading some great books. So it doesn't necessarily even need to be marketing or even related to your work, because a lot of times you may gather insights from topics that you might think were totally unrelated to what you're doing. For me, I really love reading the classics, Homer, the Iliad, the Odyssey, Dante's Inferno, all those things, and the Aeneid. So a lot of times I just might take a day to just sit down and read. So number 3 is networking. And that's part of observing, because networking is having interactions with the people around you and the people that you know, because those people know people, and they might be able to help you, or they may remember you from a certain situation and recommend you or bring up your name. So it's really important to have a really good network of people, and sometimes good things come from networking that you might not even thought of. And it could be totally unrelated. It could be a strong interaction from a show. It could be somebody that you did a collaboration with at one point, somebody that's seen your work online and decided to get in contact with you. So a lot of times networking doesn't happen if we spend all of our time with our heads buried in our work in the studio. So I know that there can be some people who are introverted and don't get out much, but even still, there are ways to network that, and that could be a whole other show around networking. The next one is rest and relaxation. Friends, I love to relax, and I could read a good book and sit all day. And that is part of it, because while you're relaxing, your brain is working out and troubleshooting some things, maybe in the background, while you're enjoying yourself. And taking time with friends and family and doing some things that you enjoy doing gives you time to take a break from your work and not get burnout, and really enjoy life so much more. And rest and relaxation can be a part of that. So taking a break does not mean that you're lazy. Relaxing does not mean that you're lazy. It means you care about yourself and you care about your work enough to take care of yourself also. Thinking. So this is one that not a lot of people might sit around and do, because you'd be like, well, probably philosophers only sit around and think all day. But it's very important, even if you're with a group of people, which is why I like going to the gallery and talking to other artists and online talking to other artists because it gives you another person to bounce ideas off from and generate conversation to work through maybe some problems that you're going through in your mind, and sitting down and just thinking about it. Even here by the creek, I like coming down here and just thinking. And I have worked a lot of problems out down here, friends, and I have come up with some great ideas just sitting and thinking. And you'd be surprised what you could come up with, and some new ideas that you can come up with if you just brought your sketchbook and just sat by the creek for an hour or two and just thought about just anything in particular. And it ends up being kind of nice, and it's all part also of self-care. Another way that your work encompasses, it also is a part of storytelling. No need to make up a story. It's your story, so get out there and try to tell it in multiple different ways. So it's told through your life, and what you're doing and what you're living and what you're saying and what you're reading. All of that is communicated through your work, and it tells your story to the person who wants to buy it. Now, that might sound a little woo-woo or something, but I think it's true, because if you're out there telling your story and you're selling your pots are telling your story, and it needs to come through your fingers. So you need to rehearse that story in your mind and take time to build that story. It doesn't need to be anything elaborate, and it comes quite naturally, and some of the best stories are the ones that come naturally, because you don't want to be telling someone else's story, and you don't want to be telling a false story. So be sure to think about what your story is. What is your work trying to say? What are you trying to say with your life? What are your 1-year goals, your 5-year goals, your 10-year goals? What would you want people to say about you after you're gone? So, storytelling is huge. Also, and lastly, number 7, communicating. So a lot of times we might not think that communicating is all that important. We might not even see people for days if we're in the basement making work, or we might not see others for days if we're stuck in the office or at the factory. And a lot of times we fail to communicate with others, and we just miss that human connection by simply talking to one another. And friends, as you know from this podcast, I love talking. And I always said that if I wasn't an artist, I'd probably be a Baptist preacher, because, man, I love talking. But it's all part of my work, and it encompasses my work. And I love getting to know people. I love finding out what they do. I just find communicating and talking really interesting. And so by taking time to get to know somebody is not wasting time. Having that extra conversation in your booth with somebody who's interested in your work, or who may just want to learn more about your work, it's important to get to know them a bit too, because it adds this whole other meaningful side of things that puts the human back into your work. Like people I think are getting tired of automation. They're looking for humans to be put back into things. And if you can do that through communication, and if you can see that as part of the total thing that embodies your work and encompasses your work, then you'll be all the better off for it. So there you have it, friends. Hopefully you enjoyed this conversation, and be sure to check out my blog at Creek Road Pottery /blog. And also, I have some other things in there. I have the cost analysis spreadsheet that is free for download. If you just go through the blog, you can get that for free. I uploaded the Excel sheet, so I'm hoping that some other artists find that important when working on some raw materials. And I also have my gallery on there with some other work, and in the info section, or also I can be reached at creekroadpottery@gmail.com. So until next time, friends, have a great week and take care of yourselves and each other.